So all of a sudden, my son got very quiet, very serious, and lowered his voice and said, "Oh, mommy, are we going to meet the man who saved our family?"
Truthfully, we all have a deep desire for success. The challenge we are faced with is, how do we get there? Knowing what million-dollar habits to develop can bring us closer to our dreams. Today's guest, Nicky Billou, will shed light on how to create a $1 million year practice in 3 years or less. Billou is the #1 international best-selling author of the book Finish Line Thinking, TM, How to Think and Win Like a Champion, The Thought Leader's Journey, A Fable of Life, and the Power of Connecting, How to Activate Profitable Relationships by Serving Your Network. He is an in-demand and highly inspirational speaker to corporate audiences such as RBC, Lululemon, Royal LePage, and Torstar Media. He is an advisor and confidant to some of the most successful and dynamic entrepreneurs in Canada. He is the co-founder of eCircle Academy and eCircleacademy.com, where he runs a year-long mastermind and educational program with coaches, consultants, corporate trainers, clinic owners, realtors, mortgage brokers, and other service-based entrepreneurs, positioning them as authorities in their niche. He is the creator of the Thought Leader, Heart Leader TM designation. As the host of the #1 podcast in the world on thought leadership, The Thought Leader Revolution, at www.thethoughtleaderrevolution.com, Nicky has interviewed over 300 of the world's top thought leaders. Follow our show and bookmark our podcast so you don't miss out on a fantastic Matrix Mentors. It's amazing to have you on the show here, Nicky. It is a true honor to have this time with you. Can you tell us about your story?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an honor to be here. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I'm originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm actually a Christian from Iran. When I was a young boy, the Islamic Revolution happened in Iran. And my late father, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall and knew that this was not going to be a place for him to raise his Christian family. So he hustled us out of Iran, and we eventually settled in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I thank God every day for my father's pre-science, because of him, freedom rather than tyranny. And I don't know if you've been following the news in Iran, but lately, a young woman, 22 years old, Mahsa Amini, was murdered by the regime's thugs for the crime, quote unquote, of going outside with her hair partially uncovered. Because you see, in Iran, it's against the law for a woman to go outside with her skin showing or with her hair showing. That's how crazy it is. And I know it's very fashionable in some corners in the West to say, the West, America, so racist, so sexist, so oppressive. And I'm not pretending that everything's been perfect here. But are you kidding me? This is the freest, most place on earth, okay? Compared to Iran. Come on, give me a break. And these folks that say this, we need to push back hard against them and remind them what we have here, what we're going to fight for to protect here, to make sure that we all get to stay free. And the crap that happens in Iran cannot happen here. That's super, super important. Now, my father, he believed in freedom, in free expression and free enterprise, just like me. And my father, he's the greatest man I've ever known. He uplifted people. If you needed a job, he'd get you a job. If you were looking to start a business, he'd help you get started in business. Even if you were going to compete with him, he didn't care about that. He wanted to help people. And if you worked for him and you were looking to buy a car, a house, an apartment, and you didn't have money, he would make sure you could buy that car, that house, that apartment. And you might think to yourself, what? Who does that? Well, Napoleon Billou does that, or did that. But why? Well, first and foremost, he was a Christian, and he believed he'd been blessed by God, and as a Christian, it was his duty to share those blessings. Secondly, he did it because he could. He had the financial wherewithal to go out there and help people. And so I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be just like that. I wanted to help people. And so I became an entrepreneur. And here's what I noticed. Most entrepreneurs are good people. They're good men and women. They want to make a difference for the world. They want to make a difference for themselves. They want to build a legacy for their families. But they don't want to be seen as pushy or salesy. They don't want to reek of commission breath. They want to be seen as a good person. And so they would miss out on business they should get for that reason. That would hurt them financially. It would also hurt that potential client, because that potential client wouldn't get a good person working with them. And then some charlatan marketer would come out, swoop in, not care about that client, but be good at selling sizzle and get the business. And that would lower the sum total of goodness in the world. That entrepreneur suffered, that potential client suffered, even the charlatan marketer suffers, because karma is going to come and bite them in the butt. You know, the good Lord says what goes around comes around. And I saw this and I thought, I'd really like to help these entrepreneurs, man. The way they're looking at sales isn't working for them. What if I could help them reframe selling to serving? Nobody wants to be sold. You don't want to be sold, Samantha. I don't want to be sold. But everybody wants to be served by a caring advocate. After all, what is business? Business is about people, not numbers. Business is a people game, not a numbers game. Okay? You, as a person in business, all you want to do is you want to solve problems for people for profit. Proprietary 7-figure 3P solution. You solve acute problems for wonderful people, amazing profits. That's what you do. That's what business is all about. And so if you're a good person at it, it's serving, not selling. You put the attention on them and not you. You won't be nervous about asking for money, because you'll be focused on helping the good people in your world win, and win big. And that's what it's all about. That's what you want. That's how you're going to go forward. And God bless you and God bless them if that's what you do. So that's one of the first things we teach people that helps them get to 7 figures, is make up people, take the attention off you and put it on them. Second, a lot of people in business, good people, their sucks. That's the technical term, sucks. So these folks are out there and their messaging sucks. And so when someone asks them, what do you do? They'll go, well, I run a company, or I'm a mortgage, or I'm a coach. As soon as someone hears that, it's you. Oh, nothing I need, right? That's where they're going to go to, because they're messaging, they're not messaging. And you ask them, how do you help people? I help them overcome overwhelm. Okay, that's nice, but it doesn't really do anything. So we help people get their message really right. So instead of I help people overcome overwhelm, if you're burnt out, I help you overcome burnout. Boom, that's way more powerful, right? I help you buy your first home and make sure you get a great home and a great deal. Boom, that's powerful. So I'll tell you a little story. I had a client come and work with us. His name was Dan Nisker. And Dan, he was a great kid, kind of person that you want to be friends with, you want to take home to meet your mom, you know what I mean? Just a good dude. You want to see him win. And he was a personal fitness trainer. And God bless him. He was a personal fitness trainer, and he was not making a lot of money. He had 7 clients, and he made maybe $1,200-$1,300 a month. He lives in Toronto. Toronto is like the New York City of Canada. If you know anything about the cost of living in New York City, you know a lot about the cost of living in Toronto. So good old, you know what? He came over here to work with us, and he said, okay, Nicky, I'm excited. I want to work with you. I said, great. Who do you help? Why, anybody, really. I can help them get fit. I can help them lose weight. I can help anybody. I'm like, Dan, no, seriously, who do you help? You got to narrow that. No, really, anybody. I said, anybody with a wallet and a pulse? And he goes, good on, Nicky. I guess so. And I'm like, no. He goes, okay. I work with doctors. My dad's a doctor. I love my dad. And a lot of money. I'm like, oh my God. My dad's a doctor. Doctors make a lot of money. Come work with me. Didn't work out so good. Danny, you gotta change your message. Hey, I'll narrow more. I'll work with allergists. They make more money. I go, Danny, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. And he didn't get a lot of time. Through serendipity, he started to work with a Paralympian athlete, an Afro-Cuban fellow by the name of Papito Wilson. And Dan, they worked together. He got him really strong. He won some medals at the Paralympic Games, so it was good. Dan comes to me and goes, Nicky, I think I want to work with people with missing limbs. I go, that's a great idea. Go do it. So he did, because, he'd found a calling. It wasn't about the money anymore. It was about, I want to help these folks. 2 weeks, he signed up 4 clients, Samantha. So he was making $1,200, $1,300 a month, 1 0, but 2 zeros to his monthly income. He made over $100,000 a month. Why? Put yourself in the shoes of someone with missing limb. Well, first and foremost, they probably aren't thrilled to have a missing limb. They probably wish they had all the limbs, and probably think that life isn't going to be as easy for them as someone with all their limbs. But Dan's message to them was, you're just as good as anybody else. You can be just as strong as anybody else, and I'm going to help you get. And they love that message, and that's why he was successful. He went from wanting to just make money working with rich people to wanting to help people. And ironically, he became rich out of helping people.
That has so much great symbolism to it. And I love that you brought up like Christianity, because I feel like that's a story that I would read in the Bible. Like, as soon as you start serving others is when you get the most. Like the book of Job, like he was the most generous guy. He was a servant to God. He went through trials, maintained his faith, and then ended up like getting riches way beyond what he started off with, and had a even bigger family than what he had in the past. And I feel like with your message on how we can look at business and how we can be more heart-centered but still be successful financially, I don't know why a lot of entrepreneurs in the wellness field have this phobia against being like profiting financially from helping people. Why do you think that a lot of people have a stigma or resistance towards that?
There's a quote in the Bible that says it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to go into heaven. And people took that literally, but the eye of the needle was actually some gate back in biblical times. It wasn't an eye of a small needle like that. And the reason was a lot of folks that made money those days did it through cheating. But we're living in a different time. People won't tolerate that. The buyers evolved. They're not going to just put up with some charlatan marketer. They want to help people that are good people. And they may also, like I said at the beginning, they don't want to come across as pushy, salesy and whatnot. But if they come across as a servant leader, that's when they can be successful. And making money is absolutely wonderful because it allows you to help the people you want to help and live the life you want to live for yourself and your family. Samantha, it's very important, in my opinion.
Thank you. In your perspective, what does success look like?
To me, success is about how many people you serve. Like I said, business is a people game, not a numbers game. And the more people you can serve, the better you're going to be. Can I tell you another story?
I love stories.
I had 2 more stories for you today in the show. So there was this young man. He was an acupuncturist, so he's in the wellness field too. And he had an acupuncture clinic in Manhattan. And he was successful. He made $150,000 a year. His name was Chris. But Manhattan's expensive, so that money came and went pretty fast, right? He said, Nicky, I need to make more money. I'm going, okay, how much money do you want to make? He says, I want to make 7 figures. I'm like, okay, all right. I said, damn, that's a big jump, but okay, let's see what we can do here. So I looked at his business model. He had a good message, right? He had a good target market. He had a lot of A-list clients, celebrities, but he didn't charge enough. He didn't value what he was doing. And I could see that. And when you undervalue what you do, you actually rob your client of the value of the solution. Why? Because the client won't show up in a way that gets them to get the outcome, right? And remember, business is about solving problems for people for profit, right? So I told him, you got to raise your prices. And he said, okay, how much? I think he thought I was going to say 10%. I said 20-fold. Okay, I can't. He goes, I can't do it. I'm like, 20 bucks, don't hyperventilate. It's all good. And then he said, well, I can't do it. Finally, I persuaded him to 7-fold his prices. He 20-folded the number of people he got to serve. Why? Well, because all these A-list celebrities go, okay, this guy's for real. Now, look, come and do business. Come and see my acupuncturist. He's the best in Manhattan. Look at how much he charges. You think about that, right? And he went from 1,000 to 1.2 million in 4 months. That's what's possible when you serve from the heart, and you're not trying to gouge people, but you're trying to charge them enough so they show up and they get the value. When you undercharge, you hurt your client because they won't do the work if they don't value it. It's called the expectancy bias. You expect something you pay a certain amount for to be valued a certain amount. If it's too cheap, you won't value it.
It makes so much sense. It's so true.
Truly it is. Truly it is.
So how did your philosophy on sales develop? Was this because of your upbringing and your inspiration with having such a generous father, or did you ever start off like hearing the salesy advice and found your way with the philosophy you have today?
Well, my father was definitely a great person in that regard. But I had some other great mentors too. And one of my mentors is a man by the name of Mark von Musser. And he always says, you know, you don't want to serve, you don't want to sell, you want to serve. You don't want to close, you want to enroll. And I agree with all that. I don't want to be sold. So why would I close somebody? Yeah, let me close that guy. Got it. Yuck. Enroll them into doing something that makes sense for them, that's going to make their life better. And to me, that's important. You know, and if your audience is listening to this and they're a wellness practitioner, first thing they got to do is understand that making money is good for you, client. When you're successful and thriving, your clients benefit because you'll be able to stay in business. You won't be stressed out, right?
Absolutely. What is an impactful moment that you had on your journey that just changed the game for you?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll tell you my last story. It's a powerful story. And that was a game changer. So several years ago, I was introduced to a woman who had been the country director for Canada for one of the world's largest personal and professional development companies. She was amazing. And she brought someone on to help her run the company who she thought was very talented. Kind of like Steve Jobs with John Scully back in the old days with Apple. And just like Steve Jobs and John Scully, at first they all got along, but after a while their visions diverged. And just like Steve Jobs and John Scully, she was kicked out of her own company, right? And she was lost. She was bereft. She was, floundering. And she came to us, and, we knew her a little bit, and she knew us a little bit. We knew she was a good, kind person, so we really wanted to help her and serve her. So we helped her get clear on her message, clear on her ideal target market. We helped her develop some IP, and we sent her out there to go do business. And it's very successful. In her first month, she did $10,000. In her second month, she did $12,000. In her third month, she did $18,000. In her fourth month, she did $62,200. It's pretty amazing, right? And she will help people, certain people, deal with burnout, like entrepreneurs that were burnt out from running big companies, like 10 million plus. So she lives in Ottawa in Canada. I live in Toronto. It's a 5-hour drive. My son, my eldest son, plays soccer, or as I like to call it, the real football, because you actually play with your feet, right? And he had a tournament in Ottawa. So she has a son, my son. I called her up and I said, hey, we're coming to Ottawa for this tournament. Can your son come and like to watch a game and have some lunch? And she goes, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So we did do that. And everybody had a great time. And we drove home. A few weeks later, we had one of our branded thought leader immersion workshops. This is where we work with people to help them add 1 to 2 zeros to their income while working 10 to 20 hours less per week. And we were at the point of our workshop where we show the new people how they can work with us to support them in their journey moving forward. And the way I do it, it's the upsell, right? The way I do it is that I don't do this big, push. This is why you should work with us. I'll let our people talk. There's some videos we've recorded. We let people watch them. Then we let some people talk that are there in person. So I turn around and I go, who'd like to share it? She bounds up on stage before I have a chance to pick anybody and goes, me. I go, okay, great. And as soon as she gets on stage, she looks around and she starts to cry. I mean, bawl, sob. And we bring her some tissues, but inside, I'm like freaking out. I'm like panicking, going, well, what did I do wrong? Just like any man would when he sees a woman cry, right? And so she looks at me and she goes, Nicky, you didn't know this, but when you and your little son came to visit with me and my little son, in that excited way little boys do, said, Mommy, who are we going to go meet? And I said, oh, we're going to meet Nicky Billou and his son. So all of a sudden, my son got very quiet, very serious, and lowered his voice and said, oh, Mommy, are we going to meet the man who saved our family? And I don't cry in public. I'm very old school, but I cried. We hugged. And she kept talking. She said between her sobs, Nicky, you didn't live. When I came to you, the bank was about to foreclose on our home. We hadn't paid our mortgage in months. My husband and I were fighting every day like cats and dogs. And it looked like we were going to wake up and I was going to lose my precious family. You literally helped us save our family. I had no idea that any of this was going on. And I just realized that was an impactful moment for me because I really here on earth to help people like her. That's my job. And here's the most amazing thing. After she said that, there were a whole bunch of people in the room, that were new, 8 of them. And we handed out the registration forms. This is a big ticket program, okay? Normally, some people sign up, some people don't. Some people need a talk, persuasion. No talk necessary. That's the power of coming from your heart. That's the power of someone seeing that you care. And that's the power of doing the right thing for somebody. And that was the biggest, most impactful moment for me. And if your listeners listening to this, your job is you need to serve people like that in your world. And that's my closing story.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's such a beautiful story. It's so heartwarming, and we never know what mountains we can move for somebody when we work from a healthy place, like what you're mentioning. And it's wild how perceptive children are. Like for him, like to see his parents go through that. When you're young, it could be really hard because you feel like you can't do anything about it. Like as humans, like we're problem-solving creatures from the jump. We want to solve problems. And so being a kid and not being able to make an income, he's probably really overwhelmed. So I can only imagine how he felt when he saw you for the first time.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. It was pretty special. It was very, very special.
So Nicky, can you tell us how we can create a $1 million a year practice in 3 years or less?
And look at it. Look at the people in front of you. The business in front of you is being about people and be about serving people. And create a really great message. Own your value. Don't undercharge. And realize why you're here. And you're here to serve good people like this woman. And every day get up asking for someone like that person to be put in front of your path. Now, there's a lot more to it than that. There's nuts and bolts of how to go forward and create your thought leader program. And, I've got, this is an example of some intellectual property I created around high performance and winning. And we can show you how to create all that for what you do. But that's how to do it. That is step 1 to step 5.
Absolutely. What are some disciplines that you noticed most entrepreneurs need to have in order to be successful?
Well, I think you need to work out every day. I think you need to eat healthy every day, drink plenty of water. I think you need to have a discipline of, being in contact with God, and a discipline of making sure that you have conversations with people that need your help. If you do that on a daily basis, you're going to be successful. A lot of people avoid the conversations with people that need your help part for the reasons we talked about before, their fear. That's what we really help people overcome. See their own magnificence, take the attention off themselves and put it on the people that need to help.
Love it. What is a lesson that stuck out to you during your journey interviewing 300 thought leaders?
It's not about you, it's about them. It's not about you, it's about them.
Can you tell us about your books and the inspiration behind the lessons in them?
So here's a few of my books: Finish Line Thinking, The Thought Leader's Journey, The Power of Connecting, and How to Create $1 Million a Year Income. All of these books are written to help people have the mindset of victory, to help people have a mentor behind them to show them what to do. The Thought Leader's Journey is especially good if you're looking to build your business as a solopreneur making $1 million a year. And they're all designed to give you the tools you need to be successful. And every day you need a little bit of inspiration. So if you read 5-10 minutes of one of my books, that'll do it for you. But if you're serious and you read them from cover to cover and you take detailed notes, it's a blueprint for success.
Oh man, I want to jump on that now personally. I feel really inspired after speaking with you, and I'm really hoping that Matrix members, I really hope this puts a fire under you too.
Amen. Amen.
Where can we find your books?
Go to Amazon. Just type in Nicky Billou. Everything will show up.
Oh, I would also love to hear about the programs that you offer if our Matrix members want to work with you right away.
The best thing for them to do, if they're interested, if they're a business owner or they want to be a business owner and they're serious, go to ecircleacademy.com/appointment. And there's a screening questionnaire that we ask you to fill out just to make sure you're a serious business person. And then you can go book a call, get on my calendar. It's free of charge. And we'll have a conversation. We'll look at what you need and whether we're the right people to help you.
Awesome. Nicky, I love our conversation. And now I just have our final 3 questions, our rapid fire. And it's just some fun little questions. What is one work-related thing you want to accomplish in the next year?
I want to have 30 people come and do our branded thought leader immersion workshops. And I want to have 20 of them join our full year-long mastermind so that we can help 20 people achieve, millionaire status.
That's so cool. If you can do it all over again, would you pursue the same career?
Yes.
Awesome. How do you show kindness to others?
That's such a good question. Smile. Start with a smile.
I love it. It's marvelous. Do you have any last words of advice for our Matrix members?
Look, the last 2 3/4 years have been challenging for all of us. A lot of people are feeling uncertainty. There's a lot of inflation out there, and they're wondering, what can they do? Who can they trust to help them be successful? And many people may have lost faith in themselves, lost belief that it's possible for them to thrive. They're just trying to survive. And I'm here to tell you, you can thrive. Believe in yourself, believe in God, and just follow the right guides. Don't follow some charlatans. Don't follow people who are just good at selling. Do what makes sense based on people that are out there that are doing things that work today. If you do that, you're going to win. But first and foremost, you got to believe. If you have belief, victory was assured. If you don't have belief, you'll never win.
Thank you so much, Nicky, and God bless you and your journey. I value the work that you're doing, and I'll definitely be watching and praying on the sidelines.
Thank you, Samantha. God bless you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. In the description below is a chance to work with Nicky directly. Nicky is offering a complimentary breakthrough call so that you can get clear on why you're stuck in your business and have support building a roadmap to get you unstuck and to the next level. All feedback is welcome and helps us serve our fellow Matrix members. To stay up to date with our Matrix mentors and what we have in store for you, bookmark our website and subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. It was great having you on the Organic Matrix Show, and we'll be seeing you on the next download.